Hi you guys, welcome, välkomna, dobro пожаловать. My name is Salmansa Rogers. Today is Friday and I have another true crime story for you guys. FYI, if you hear some sounds in the background, it's because I'm blasting the AC. It's been ridiculously hot, like literally 35, 36 Celsius, around 95, 96 Fahrenheit. So yeah, we had a huge heat wave here in Los Angeles. So just FYI, I'm boiling and I have my lights on, I have my makeup on. Yeah. So the AC is blasting. Just FYI, if you hear noises in the background. I got a fun request on my IG that I saw, which actually was my original idea. So as you guys know, I am also a fitness coach. I am a booty builder, glute isolation expert. So originally, when I wanted to start this series, I wanted to I didn't know what to do. I'm like, should I just tell the story or should I do something? And then I had this great idea to why not work out while I'll tell a true crime story. But then I realized that when I work out, I go hard. Like I literally sweat profusely. My heart is up here. I'm just red in the face. So I'm like, I don't know if that will be such a great idea for you guys to listen to me catching my breath and sweating profusely. And also, I didn't feel like maybe it's a little bit disrespectful to tell the story because, again, it's true people, this is true cases. So I felt like, just having like a cozy bedroom setting is much more professional and, much more respectful when I tell the stories. And also, as weird as this sounds, this is a little moment for me personally to actually kind of like rewind. I know I'm telling a horrible story, but I have like my fitness, social media. I have my influencer, fashion, beauty, and then I have my fun stuff on TikTok. So this is the YouTube is my only time where I actually can just rewind, be serious for once, and tell about something serious. Talk about something serious. So I prefer this much better, and I like it. And if you do want to follow me on my any other social media accounts, I always leave a link in the description box, just FYI. So, my darlings, today is the fourth video of the month, and you already know what that means. That means I'm going to talk about a unsolved true crime story. As you guys know, personally, I don't like unsolved because I need to know. I want to know what happened to the victim. I want to know who the perpetrator is and all of that. But, some of you guys do like unsolved. So that's why I'm doing every fourth video is unsolved. And today we're going to discuss the case of Cheyann Klus. I think you pronounce her name Klus, the last name. If I didn't pronounce it correctly, I'm so sorry for that. I know how it is when people can't pronounce your name. That's why I go by Sal, because apparently Salmansa is too long and too hard for some people to pronounce. So without any further ado, let's jump into today's case. Today's case takes place in Chicago, Illinois, here in the United States, and the year is 2017. And like I said in the intro, I will be discussing the case, the unsolved case of Cheyann Klus. And it's been now, what is it, it's been 5 years since she mysteriously disappeared. At the time of her disappearance in 2017, she was 22 years old. And I couldn't find any background story of her. I do know that she had, a mother and a father and sisters. I don't know if, she was the younger sister, she was a middle child or older, but I do know that she had sisters, but I don't know how many and how old they are. A little bit before her disappearance. So she disappeared in November of 2017, but let's rewind a year back. So in 2016, in January, unfortunately, she lost her mother to lung cancer. And this was something that was kind of, they were kind of preparing that that would happen. But you know how it is, even though, you know that your loved one, is sick, and eventually it will lead up to their death, but you don't want to believe that, and you still have hope. And that's exactly what Cheyann had. She was hoping and praying, but unfortunately the lung cancer took over her mother, and she passed away in January. And this literally broke her heart, because her mother was not just a mother, she was her best friend, her rock, someone that she always confided in, and could talk to. So this literally broke her. And like a month or so, her beloved Shih Tzu, I love Shih Tzus, they're so cute, oh my God. Her beloved Shih Tzu pet dog passed away as well of old age. So Cheyann was just heartbroken. She lost two of her favorite people in this world, and her demeanor changed completely from this fun, bubbly, selfie taken, funny meme posting Cheyann. Her social media accounts, particularly her Facebook, became like, just a place where she can vent her sorrow, her grief, her heartbreak, and what have you. Her way of coping with all of this turned into partying late at night, just being out there in the party scene. And, I really, really can relate to Cheyann on this, because I lost my grandfather. A few of you guys know that my story, but my grandpa passed away in July 2014, and he passed away just suddenly. He had a heart attack, it was not coming, his health was perfect. So it was like a sudden passing, and this was my first ever passing in the family. And my grandpa was kind of like Cheyenn's mom. He was not just a grandpa, he was literally my dad, my second dad. He was my best friend, my everything. He was a Pisces as well, and we had a very close bond because I grew up with my grandparents. So when he passed away, I literally lost everything, like lost it, like lost the will for living, lost the will for like waking up in the morning. Fortunately, my husband got me the membership for Gold's Gym, just to kind of go out there and, just walk on the treadmill and just kind of like, think of something else. And that's how Booty by Sal was born. And that's how I became a personal trainer and all of that, and been doing fitness now for 7 years. So I found my comfort, grief. I found fitness through that grief. If I was younger, if I was in my 20s, I would probably go the same direction as Cheyann, because in my 20s, I was partying Wednesday to Saturday. Like you could not stop me. I was even making fun of people like I am right now, going to bed at 9 p.m. and waking up at like 6 a.m., 5:30. So yeah, I was a party animal, whatever you want to call it, mascara down to my, you know, coming home 5 a.m. crazy. Yeah, so I had lived that life. It was fun. But again, just a reminder, Cheyann is only 22. So, she's young. She's trying out life, she's testing out what is out there. So I would probably be doing the same thing. Cheyann also had a very good friend. His name is Chad. And Chad describes Cheyann as a very, very beautiful woman, a person that would turn heads any occasion or room she entered. And he literally describes her looks as iconic. He also said that they are just platonic friends. They never ever had anything between them. According to him, Cheyann put him in a friend zone. At one point, Chad even describes that he had to go to the emergency room to get some stitches. I believe he said 8 stitches, because he got into a altercation with another man or another guy because of Cheyann. He was protecting her from this guy, and then they got into a fight, and he had to go to the emergency room and had 8 stitches. So he was very, very protective over Cheyann, trying to be there for her and protect her the best way he could. So, a few weeks prior to Cheyenne's disappearance, we're now in November of 2017. Cheyenne met this guy by the name of Brian Biddle. And Brian over here, he is 38 years old. And mind you, Cheyenne is 22. And they hit it off, even though, according to Cheyenne's friends, he is way, as far as looks go, he's definitely not in her league. Cheyenne is way more prettier than him. And some of her friends don't even understand how she could even, find anything mutual with this guy. But what Brian did offer Cheyenne was, alcohol, partying, having fun, up all night. And that's exactly what Cheyenne was into. So, right after Thanksgiving, November of 2017, Cheyenne decides to go over to Brian's house to hang out. And she tells her close ones that she's planning on going over there and staying there for a couple of nights. And according to Cheyenne's aunt, she just brought her laptop and a few clothing items. So she didn't pack like a lot of, stuff. And yeah, and this is also according to Cheyenne's aunt that this is something normal. Cheyenne would do stuff like that. She would stay over friends, sleep over there for a week or a week and a half. So this was nothing like alarming or red flag or what have you. So Cheyenne stayed over at Brian's house, and according to Brian, they had a fun few days. They were partying into late night, constantly drinking, and just, living life to the fullest. And during those few days that Cheyenne stayed at Brian's house, they snapped some photos that I am going to insert here. So first, a photo of his cat, and the second photo is of Cheyenne. And according to these pictures, nothing looks out of the ordinary, nothing looks alarming or scary, or have you, just, regular photos. On November 27th, Chad wakes up. So remember Chad, he is Cheyenne's best friend, the guy in the friend zone. So Chad wakes up in the early morning, and he noticed that he got some text messages and missed phone calls 20 minutes ago from Cheyenne. And when he opened the text messages, it basically says, babe, apparently they call each other babe. Babe, can you please come pick me up? And then another text, Chad, why don't you answer? Please answer the phone. And then a few missed calls. And again, this was 20 minutes ago, so he called Cheyenne right back to see what was going on, what was the urge to, to have her pick up. But she never replied. But of course, at first, Chad didn't see any red flags with this because he figured like it's still super early. Maybe she fell asleep or left her phone, went to the bathroom, like he was not panicking. But then when he couldn't get hold of her for the rest of the day, that's when the panic kicks in. Cheyenne's family immediately started calling Cheyenne's friends to possibly see where or if they heard from her or what have you. They also contacted, of course, Brian, but according to Brian, he was asleep for 18 hours that day. So he was asleep for 18 hours, almost the whole day. And when he woke up, she was gone. He doesn't know when she left or if she left with someone or what have you. But he had no clue of Cheyenne's whereabouts. A few days later, so remember, she was last texted Chad, her best friend, on November 27th. So on December 11th, so a few days later, a mysterious phone call to 911 from Cheyenne's cell phone was placed. And as soon as the operator answered the phone call, someone hung up. So they called, the operator answered, and the phone just died. So the phone call could be traced to Mallard Lake. It's like a forest preserve area. And when they went over there, unfortunately, they couldn't find Cheyann nor her cell phone. According to my research, they did two intense searches in that area with, group of people, volunteers. They basically combed over the whole entire 60 acres. It's a large area, but they found a few items, but I don't think that they were connected to Cheyann. But a lot of people have been complaining or think that this is very weird because that area has a lake. And according to the rescue people or the search party, they never ever had any divers or anyone searching through the lake. So they combed over the top, like the ground area, but no one ever made an effort to search in the lake. And I feel as well, I agree, that's a huge miss because, I mean, hello, nowadays, lakes are the first thing I would search. The first thing would be that lake, if someone wants to dump a body, water, I don't know, the lake has not been searched. Like I said, this case is from 5 years ago. They might have searched it by now, but unfortunately, I couldn't find any research if they did, after those 5 years, search the lake. But if they haven't, I think that's a huge miss. That's like the first thing I would do is search the damn lake. Another thing that I want to point out, that the mysterious phone call that was made from Cheyann's phone on December 11th was also, according to a source, the same day that Cheyanne's father reported Cheyann missing. So a few people think that this phone call must have been like placed by the perpetrator or someone to kind of like misguide the police search. But if that's the case, then the only people that knew that Cheyanne's father made a missing persons report was someone close to the family, like, or to the family circle. So it must have been someone. If that's the case, if someone is trying to mislead the authorities, then it must be someone close to Cheyanne's family and friends. But another thing that I feel like, your daughter goes missing on the 27th of November and you report her missing on the 12th or 11th of December. So at first I felt like, why did it take so long to make that missing persons report? But then remember what Cheyanne's aunt said, that this is something normal, that she goes, sometimes a week or a half. The family doesn't really hear from her. And then she just, comes back home. So maybe that's what they were thinking. But at the same time, the guy that she supposedly spent those days with wakes up after his 18-hour sleep and she's completely gone. Like, I would place a missing person right, off the bat. But I don't know. Maybe he did. Maybe the source is incorrect. So that's pretty much it for the case right now. That's all the details that is out there regarding this case. So let's discuss possible, motive and theories, what people believe could have happened. So the first theory is, of course, that Brian, the guy that Cheyann spent those few days with at his house, is responsible, that, who sleeps for 18 hours. People don't really believe his 18-hour sleep story, and that maybe they, did some drugs and Cheyann overdosed and he panicked and got rid of her body and then came up with this 18-hour sleep story. Or maybe he was just mad at her because, maybe he felt like she was using him just to party and doing drugs. And maybe he wanted more than just that. He wanted to be a boyfriend and she didn't want to, and then he got mad. But basically, they saying that Brian has knows more than what he says. Another thing about Brian is that a few weeks later, or maybe a few months later, he was actually charged of possession of illegal drugs and what have you. And I think also guns or what have you, or something, weapons. and he was held in a jail cell. So, but this was not related to Cheyann, of course. But this just goes to show what kind of person Brian was or is. The next theory is Cheyenn's best friend, Chad, that he might be, since he was in the friend zone, he might be the one that is actually responsible for her disappearance, that he got tired of seeing her hooking up with all of these strange men and guys that he didn't approve of, and he maybe felt like, how can she give them a chance, and they beneath me, and I'm here protecting you. I had to fight for you, and you just ignore me completely. Basically jealousy. And maybe after Cheyann spending those days with Brian, this was basically Chad's he just had it. He was just boiling to the point that he's like, okay, enough is enough. Maybe he had something to do with her disappearance. Third and final theory that I came across was that Cheyann maybe was abducted by someone completely stranger or a sex trafficking ring, because when Cheyann went over to Brian's house, he actually ordered her an Uber. So, and according to Cheyenn's aunt, she didn't have any money on her and she didn't have a car. I don't think she had a driving license. So she basically got Ubered to Brian's house. And if she was in this urge to leave his house, according to Chad and his text messages, maybe after not being able to get hold of Chad and maybe other people she tried to get hold of, they didn't answer because, again, it was super early. I believe it was around 6:30 a.m. and no one was there to answer. So she just decided to walk back home. And on her way back in the early morning, someone abducted her, a bad person, basically. So that's the third theory that people speculate what could have happened to Cheyann. Yes, so that's pretty much it for today's case, my darlings. I feel like this case could easily be solved, but at the same time, it's very, very mysterious and very confusing. I don't know. I personally, I don't know what to believe. I feel like, yes, Brian probably knows more than what he says. I don't really know if I believe his 18-hour slumber excuse. But then again, I mean, according to people, he was a very hard party, drug and alcohol person. So he might, had a rough night earlier, or day, night, and then just, his body would just shut down and he fell asleep for 18 hours. I mean, could have. At the same time, also with Chad, the best friend, for some reason, how he described Cheyann as iconic, I don't know, something about his demeanor just didn't sit right with me. If I missed something, or if you know something about this case, let me know in the comments below. What is your guys' theories about this case? Let me know in the comments below. And please, always, reminder, I know you guys know by now, but stay positive and nice in the comments, because this is real people I'm talking about. You don't want your family or someone talking ill about your family, so don't speak ill of others. And if you have any future case suggestions, my darlings, leave a comment below. And I'm always so happy and thankful for you guys to, stay here for 20, 30, 40 minutes of your time and sit and listen to my story. Again, for me, this means a lot, and I'm very, very happy and grateful for all of you guys. Share, like, and of course, subscribe. You don't want to miss my future cases. Until then, as I always say, stay safe, stay blessed, be happy, be thankful, be grateful for this life of yours. If you can't find anything to be grateful for, just be grateful for your health, because remember, my loves, your health is your wealth. Until next Friday, ciao cacao.